of the Sim Standard. Excuse me. There we are. Now here's the funny thing. The microphone was working just fine 2 seconds ago when I looked down. So I don't know. The software gets weird, but anyway, being that the microphone was muted, maybe you guys didn't hear what I said at first. I started to say the wrong podcast name. I started to reference my Thursday podcast, which is the Sim Standard podcast. So anyway, since you guys didn't hear it, let's start from full scratch. Welcome to the latest episode of Terrible Towel Tuesday. I am your host, SimFBallCritic, and thank you to you guys being vigilant, man, in the chat, letting me know that the microphone was muted, so I appreciate that. So without further ado, let me get into the chat section here and say what's up to some of you guys. Give me a hot second here. I want to say a quick what's up to Steve Williams, Kevin Figueroa, Builder's Life, Mr. Antoine Myers, my boy. What's up, Antoine? Michael Garman, Lance and Shield, Brandon Cheney, Godwin Ogahi. I don't know. I'm trying. I hope I didn't mispronounce it. Jay Will, Mr. Abs, Boliver Ware, In the Green TV, Joshua Shields, Zumi M, Ali Howard, Mike Cox, Joseph Delavicia. I love saying that name for whatever reason. Call me crazy, but I like pronouncing that name. Hopefully, Joseph, I'm saying that correctly. 14 Metallic Freak and Still Matic. Like the way you're spelling that. Zach Survive 58. Daryl Dukes, Tristin Middleton, and we'll read maybe 2 or 3 more. Blackhawk 47, Jason Winningham, always giving us a call, so you guys know who that is. Michael Towell, and of course my brother Kenyon in the building, and hopefully, I know Kenyon will be able to make it, of course, but hopefully Tony as well will be able to call in tonight. We're going to do a special steel table for you. Nothing special to really talk about, but Kenyon and I both are Aries. His birthday was yesterday. My birthday is tomorrow. So we figured why not have a good time and kind of chat it up, in birthday spirit. But let's see. He just sent me a text. Oh, man. He's saying Blog Talk is not working. So we're going to have to probably get him on via Skype. Kenyon, I know you're listening. So definitely let me pull up the Skype. And Tony, wasn't sure if Tony was going to be able to make it tonight. Let me know. But Kenyon, let me go ahead and pull up the Skype, and then we'll get Kenyon on, guys. So give me a second. I tell you, man, Blog Talk Radio is something, isn't it? It worked for us last week, and now all of a sudden this week, it's on the fritz once again. But how's everybody doing tonight, man? I hope you guys are well. And what I will be referencing tonight, of course, the biggest thing that I'll talk about is, what we will talk about is, Jalen Hurts. And I'll definitely let you guys know why I'm saying that. Some of you guys who follow the news like I do probably understand where I'm getting that from. But we'll save that conversation. But outside of that, man, I hope everybody is well. I'll talk a little bit more, man, about a couple other things, man, that caught my eye and caught my ears. For you guys who are familiar with Gil Brandt, well respected in the league. We know what he does, putting out his top 100, 150 player list, ranked players and things like that. If you've listened to the Terrible podcast with Dave Bryant, Alex Kazur from SteelersDepot.com, you would know that they definitely talked about him and his list. And I want to take a look at, players 41 to 59, because that person could possibly be the guy that the Pittsburgh Steelers will be drafting. Dave Bryant actually did some analysis and the percentages of the rightness, if you will, of Gil Brandt is incredible. His averages as far as the top 32 players how many players out of that 32 are actually picked in that round, and then and so on and so forth. His average is crazy, so it's almost likely that one of the guys from player 41 through 59 will be a Pittsburgh Steelers. So we'll chop that up and kind of talk about which guys we think that will be. And whoa, gotta give a huge shout out to Sloth Legacy, man, with the big time donation. I don't know if the applause already went off on its own, but if it didn't, let's throw one out there right now. So there it is. I was actually ahead of it, but as you guys can see there on the screen, Sloth Legacy, man, wow, we definitely appreciate that, man. I mean, listen, anytime you guys donate, it's always, heartfelt for me. It's crazy. You guys have no idea, how that feels to have you guys actually donate to the cause. So I definitely appreciate that. He says, happy early birthday, and did you get my 50 last time I donated? It was at the end when you finished a few streams ago. I'll actually have to go back and check, man, but wow, if you did that twice, that's even more of a round of applause. But I will actually have to go back and check the analytics. While we're on that, again, I'm not trying to persuade anyone, but I just want to put it out there because some people have told me they prefer not to donate on YouTube. So if you guys ever want to donate outside of that, a lot of you guys do. I have Cash App. I also have PayPal. That information is in the description. Some people have told me I should get a Patreon. I may create that account as well by next week, but that information is there. So therefore, for sure when and when I don't, because I could easily reply back to you guys. But again, I'm not asking for that, and I'm not even trying to persuade you to go a certain route. I'm just giving you alternatives. With YouTube, I definitely have to go back, and check the analytics if I didn't see it on the show. And if I'm being completely transparent, YouTube likes to dip in my pocket, so they're going to take a chunk of that. That's just how it goes. All right. But anyway, let me get my good brother Kenyon on, man. Give me a hot second, guys. We're going to call Kenyon and get him on, man. And we'll just start talking. No structure tonight. Let's just start talking and see what we want to talk about. Hold on one second, guys. One second. We're going to do the good old Skype. All right, Kenyon. What's going on, brother?
How you doing?
Doing
How's
good.
Everybody doing?
Doing good. What you got going on tonight, man?
Can't do too much while you quarantine.
Exactly. Craziest birthday I've ever spent. I know that much.
Yeah. Oh man, I just basically just tried to run errands earlier just to get them out the way, so I don't have to go out for the rest of the week or something like that. You know what I mean? So it's just on lockdown in a lot of ways, so nothing you can do.
Yeah, man. And like I told everybody, man, for you guys who may be coming in later, we like to do the still table all the time. I didn't see a comment at all from Tony. So Tony, I know you're probably in here. If you want to come on, just let me know. I'll call you on, here on Skype as well. Too bad Blog Talk isn't working. But Kenyon and I both are Aries. We've said that before to you guys. I don't know if y'all care to remember that, but yesterday the 13th was his birthday. Tomorrow the 15th is my birthday. So we figured, why not have a still table? Not necessarily about the birthday, but why not? This is close to a party that we gonna get in these times. So there you have it. So man, I don't really have a huge structure, man, tonight, but I'm gonna let you know what I put in the description, and we can roll from that. I definitely want to talk about, I know you heard the podcast because we always listen to it as well as Tony, but I want to talk about, man, Gil Brandt. That list, as far as, let's just focus on 41 through 59, and we can kind of look at those names. I'll actually read the names off for those who may not know, and then we'll kind of discuss who we think could be the pick. We're definitely going to talk about Michael Pittman Jr. because he could be one of those guys now. As well, I want to talk a little bit about, of course, Mel Kiper Jr. mocking Jalen Hurts to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I want to definitely hear what you think about that. I'll give my thoughts, and whoever else in the comment section, we'll see. And other than that, man, I'm going to lend to you because I know most of the time you know some of these players before I do. You can let us know if you're familiar at all with, what's his name? Saeed, was it Bankwell, I think his name is, the receiver that we just signed from Penn State. Blackwell, yeah, okay. Blackwell. And played in the XFL. Yeah. Apparently, from what I saw, he's about 6'2", got some speed on him. I know nothing about him. So, man, if you got any information on him, feel free to share that. So, wherever you want to start, man, I guess if we try to kill that one first, because that's probably the least amount of time we're going to spend is talking about that guy. So, do you know anything about him?
I don't know too much about him because when he was at Penn State, I don't remember him being really productive, and he went undrafted. So I don't really know too much about him. I know he bounced around. He's bounced around a couple of teams. I think he was with Kansas City for a minute. So, and then he just came out of XFL, which I think just filed for bankruptcy or is folding essentially. Yeah, I don't know too much about him. I know he's another height, 6'2" receiver that has speed. Which is the Steelers have been, the crumbs. You have to read the crumbs, and them signing all these big receivers, it's kind of like might be telling. But I think that I don't know. I guess we'll find out what he does in camp. To me, he's just like the other guys they've signed. Anthony Johnson out of Buffalo. I think I told you about him, and you didn't even know you don't remember him, but I barely remember him. So. And I guess they signed the other guy, Justice or Custis, what's his name, 6'5" kid.
Oh yeah.
They have a lot of big receivers. So I don't know too much about them. I think these receivers that are getting signed, like you said earlier when you were texting me, they're camp guys. You're filling out your roster. So doesn't necessarily doesn't mean they won't draft with their draft whoever's available at 49. They're just filling out the roster. So that's all I have on him. I haven't even seen film on site that much. I know about KJ Hamler. I know about all the other receivers, but I don't know about him. I don't think I remember him that well. So
yeah, I don't know much about him, man. I watched the little XFL clips. He definitely looks like a guy with some speed and get behind the defense. A couple of big plays that what's the kid, Josh Johnson threw to him or whatever. But I haven't even did my due diligence of going back and looking at his college film. I'm not going to waste my time on it only because I'm going to treat it kind of like Cam Kelly. If he gets through camp and makes a push and makes the team, great. I'm not opposed. Listen, we need that guy. We need a big guy with speed, a Martavis Bryant, if you will. He's a little shorter than that, but we need – I miss when we had that. Even though we all know traditionally the Steelers, in our glory years, we didn't have the big giant receiver. And when I say glory, I'm not even going back to the 70s. I'm talking about the time period when most people – I can't even say that because we have a lot of older people who call into the show. Let's just say this. The new era, if you will, since like 95 through now. Never really had the big giant receiver with speed. We had Plaxico for a minute, and that was about it. You get Martavis Bryant, but usually our most productive receivers were the guys who were, I won't say short, just average, or maybe above average for a normal man, 5'10", 5'11", something like that. Quick guys. Even Hans Ward, he wasn't speedy, he wasn't tall. Outstanding receiver. Santonio Holmes, same situation. He was fast, not big. Emmanuel Sanders, Mike Wallace, Antonio Brown, all of these guys, Marcus Wheaton. Martavis Bryant to me was the only guy, and then Sammy Coates, which we know how that panned out. But I'm still gonna say I love when we had that threat. When we had Martavis Bryant out there, I loved it.
Somebody.
I loved it.
You forgetting somebody.
Who I'm forgetting? Somebody. I know I'm forgetting somebody. Who is it?
Somebody that rhymes with the word weed.
No. Bum. And you guys know I don't like to call players bums. Listen, man. For as many drops as this dude had, I will always remember the one against the Redskins. I'll never forget it. Because Byron Leftwich, being a DC guy, he's back home. He's playing pretty good in that game. I can't even remember why he was playing, to be honest. I don't know. Did Ben go there? I don't know. All I know is he threw a bomb to Lamas Swede, and Lamas Swede is in the end zone and drops it. Nobody within 10 yards of him. And that was the epitome of his, like, the bustness, if you want to call it, of his draft pick. Like, wow, it all came together in that one play. That is the epitome of Lamas Swede. Big, fast, no hands in the NFL. Jesus. So that's why I probably forgot him. But yeah,
I can't forget him because I remember that play.
Yeah, that was a bad one, man. Because I was like, boy, Leftwich put that thing out there. He about to show off at home. Nope. I mean, it was one of them situations for you guys that don't remember the game, and I know Kenyon will say the same thing. You know when you're watching the game on TV, because I definitely do this in the stadium. Because in the stadium, you even see it before the ball is thrown. Like, that's the thing. For anybody who's never been to a Steelers game or any football game, you can see he's open. You know, so even more so at the stadium, but when you watching it on TV, I had one of those moments of touchdown. That's how bad it was. It was a clear touchdown. You saw it. The ball was still traveling. The dude was by himself. It looked like it was a post, too. Because he ended up counting like in the middle of the end zone. So I don't know if it was just a straight fly down the seam or if it was a post. But he drops it. And right then I said, okay, I'm done with this guy. But to bring it back to Saeed, man, hey, I will not be upset if we find out that he ends up being the Justin Hunter, if you will. And what I mean by that is the guy that showed a little promise in camp, big, fast. We took a shot at him. He made the roster. Wouldn't hurt my feelings at all. What if he end up terrorizing? Great. Because you know what that ends up doing is that definitely, as Kenyon calls him, that might put No-Rack in a predicament where he won't make the team. If there's more and more receivers that we feel like we have to keep. So, we'll see. Can't get excited yet, but we'll see. But anyway, speaking of which, and Kenyon I'm sure will agree with this, it's weird, man, because the Steelers have a way of, how should I phrase it? You know how most of the time you'll look at your team and you'll say, oh, we'll address that position. Oh, we'll address that position. We ain't going to go there in the draft. That ain't the Steelers. Every time I've thought they weren't going to go a certain way because they already plugged a hole or whatever, they end up going that way. So, like, I think Kenyon kind of alluded to it a little earlier. It makes me feel like receiver could possibly still be in play because you could look at this situation as being a lot of camp body competition, meaning that they're looking for somebody to fill that void. So not only are they going to sign cheap guys, it might be giving us a clear picture as to them signing a receiver. When they will sign him is different. We don't know if it's going to still be 49 or not, but I think clearly they're looking for a big body receiver, and maybe even not necessarily a burner because, you know, we both like Pittman, and Pittman's not a burner, but you get him in one-on-one situation, I still like his chances deep, just like James Washington. You know, James Washington ain't no flyer, but I love James Washington on the deep ball, one-on-one. So, I guess, man, let me see. We kind of skip it around here. Let's talk about that first, and then we'll dive into Jalen Hurts. Have you had a chance, man, to look at the list of names 41 through 59 from Gil Brandt's list?
I didn't see the list, but I heard I was listening to the podcast earlier. Basically at the same time, I think you were texting me. So,
Yep.
And I heard what they were, and I heard what they were, who they were talking about, and it was the same. It was basically the same people. Antoine Winfield Jr., Michael Pittman, Chase Claypool. I'm trying to think who else they had in there. There's somebody else that we talked about.
Rager.
I don't think you talked Rager. I've seen, so it's basically the same names I think that we've been throwing around. My thoughts on it are, I think I texted you this earlier. I just think Antoine Winfield is going way earlier than people think. I don't think he's overrated. I just think he's a ball hawk, and I think those type of players, depending on how trades go, he may go higher. But he'll be in that 46 to 49 range. I know they talked about Mims and where he had him ranked, but I'm like, Mims is late first. He's vaulted himself into the late first round. I mean, like easily. So I don't think he'll be there. Rager, I watched a game on Rager. But he's another small receiver. And you know what it is? Like Deontay Johnson does the same thing same things that Rager does. Rager's just a little faster than him.
Yeah.
So, but that's it. So I wouldn't go there. I do agree with you. I think they're looking for a big body receiver. That's why they're signing all these big body receivers. They just don't have anybody like 6'4". And I don't think they need a burner. I think they want somebody that's a red zone guy, add to the receiving room with Ben. That's why you sign those big body guys. And if it's 49 and if you like Claypool, if you like Pittman, now you've seen that Kazora has mocked Pittman and John Clayton mocked Pittman to the Steelers. So it's, look, I said this to Sim and to most of you guys earlier this year, basically at the end of the season, that he just looked like he would fit that profile, and he checked every box. And it's not because he went to USC, and it's not because it's not a homer situation. It's just what you see. Does he fit what they do? And he just fits. And in this draft in particular, with them not being able to have pro days, to not being able to talk to people, the familiarity and the family ties are very attractive to Pittsburgh, because you have to look at it this way. Lance Wine was a Steeler. He was at USC while Pittman was at USC. So that's a direct connect that he can talk to Tom. They can talk to him. Michael Pittman's father was on the same team when Tomlin was coaching at Tampa Bay. All that stuff matters because the Steelers will try to be conservative this year. Not conservative in a sense, but they would just try to go with what they know. And, as I said earlier, and Sim said it too, if you put Pittman in the 4th spot and you have Pittman with Juju, and you can move Juju to the slot. I said this to Sim agreed. You can move Juju to the slot. You can have Johnson in the slot in certain situations.
Yeah.
Those guys can move around. But Pittman, if you watch his tape, he's a big body receiver that snatches balls when people are on him. And Sim can attest to that. He just does it. It's just something he does. So, and he loves special teams, and I think he would immediately walk into that room and he can play on special teams. So he'll contribute on special teams early because he likes playing it. He may not stay there long, but he likes playing it. So that's my analysis. Chase Claypool was another big receiver, but I just didn't see the production. Like, for him to be that fast, I would expect him to be dominant, and he was never dominant. So, basically, that's the readings I get. Jalen Reagor, some people say he has I think I heard on the podcast where who was that, Dave T, that said that if you get Reagor, he's like Antonio Brown Jr. and he'll ruin your locker room in like a year or something like that, or 2 years.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, that's kind of crazy. So with him, it's that's an interesting thing. So I just don't know if the Steelers would get like a receiver that's similar to Deontay Johnson, another guy like that. And look, I know y'all don't want to hear this, but I told Sim this the other day, and look, no rack is not getting cut before training camp.
Nope.
No Rack will be in training camp. No Rack has been working out with Big Ben since he started throwing again. And he's been there working with him.
Ben loves him for some
I'm just
reason,
saying.
man.
He loves him. I'm just saying. Just don't be surprised. Just don't be surprised if No Rack is catching passes, and he'll live up to his name as No Rack. And Antonio Winfield Jr. is somebody that Sim loves and I love too. That wouldn't bother me if you took him.
Nope.
Look, it's not out of the realm of possibility at 49 for them to take an offensive lineman.
Nope.
I mean, these are things in my mind I can see them doing. But I just think that they're going to go. I think their offseason moves have allowed them to really address what the Steelers' failures were last year, which is on the offensive side of the ball. So they'll probably look to add to the offensive side of the ball at a skill position. They've already done it with tight end, so they're probably going to do it, with another receiver. I'm not saying those other receivers are good, but you can never have enough good receivers. If you have 4 stud receivers, and they all grow together, and you have to remember, Juju was going into this last year. All these things matter. You know what I mean? So, that was always my analysis with Pittman. I hope they draft him. I just don't know if he'll make it to 49. If he makes it to 49, they may get him. I don't think it'll be running back in the second round, because there's no running back in this draft that you would draft at 49 besides maybe Swift, maybe Jonathan Taylor. The other backs I would not draft at 49, because you can get Cam Akers at 102. You can get the running back from LSU, Claude Hilaire. You can get him like in the 3rd or 4th. You can get I'm trying to think of the other running back that they like. The kid out of Boston College. You can get him in the 4th because he's like 225 durable. So
who's that? Dillon?
I don't think they'll address that. Yeah, AJ Dillon. AJ Dillon. Yeah.
Yo, is he related to just a sidebar? Is he any relation to Corey Dillon? Do we know?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I wonder.
That's a good question.
I might have to look that up.
Yeah, look that up. Matter of fact, let me look that up while I'm talking.
That was a tough little run.
That's a great question.
Corey Dillon was nice, man, for a minute. It just seemed like, I don't know, it just didn't, I guess the career didn't pan out, but he had potential, though.
You got Super Bowl when he went to New England. He went to New England. Remember, Bill Belichick got him like late. He got him on the low end, and
Nah, it's saying his parents are Jamel Dillon and Jessica Campbell. Yeah. Cool.
He's from Connecticut. Okay. Yeah. All right. But yeah, I think that's at 49 is going to be interesting. I think that I would agree with you on that. I just don't. To me, my 2 favorite players so far that I've watched probably has been Antoine Winfield Jr. and actually I love watching Cam Akers, especially the games where he didn't do anything, because it just showed me a lot about him. But they won't draft. But Cam Akers is not a second round running back. It's just, it's not a disrespect to him. It's just that's how the draft board will fall. He won't be a second round running back because Swift may fall. Jonathan Taylor may fall. And they probably like Taylor better than they like. If Taylor was there, they probably would take Taylor over Cam Akers. But I just don't think the Steelers look at the running back position like some fans do, quote unquote. Where they're, you know what I mean? They just don't look at it like that. They look at it like we have running backs. We can get them. We can just run by committee. And I think they'll just roll with it. And if James Conner doesn't have a great year this year, he's in his last year, they don't have to re-sign him. And they can draft a running back next year. So it's kind of like you can kind of see what's going on. So it's kind of like, that's why I'm not on Conner like that. I don't get on Conner because I'm like, look, he's injury prone. If he doesn't have a great year, okay, you don't re-sign him. Because they have to make a decision. It's going to be Conner or Juju. Like you said, it's going to be Conner or Juju. That's it.
Yeah, it's too bad, man, about Connor.
So that's basically it. Yeah.
Oh man, so yeah, how I kind of view it, and I want to answer a question really quick, man. In the green wanted me to, thanks for the donation. I know that the alert is ringing off for you guys automatically, but he says, "What do we think about the Steelers signing 5 players from the XFL?" And, I'll just be really quick with that. To me, I view it the same way I did when we signed the AAF guys. At this point, they all have a chance. I mean, they're probably camp bodies, but you look at a Cam Kelly and you say, well, I mean, if one of these guys play well in a position of need in terms of depth, then I'm open to it. And here's the reason why. We saw it last year. And we could argue whether or not Cam Kelly is good or not, and how that ended. Of course, it doesn't look great now. But what we can always say is, what I can lean on is that these guys just played football recently. They're in shape. So to me, it's no worse of a chance than a UDFA. So why not? Maybe one of these dudes just needed to be in the right situation to be better in the NFL that they weren't when they first came in the league, or when they first were drafted, or if they were a UDFA. Why not take a chance? Like the Kayvon Walker, I think the guy's name is, like a D lineman. Why not? We need depth there anyway. So, what if he's somebody that we're going to use as a rotational piece behind Tyson Alualu and guys like that, and we don't draft a D lineman? So, I'm not opposed to it at all. Cool with me. So, I'm cool with that. As far as the 49, man, let me read the names to you guys really quick. And I know some of y'all are probably laughing at me as y'all see me looking at my beard from left to right in the camera. This whole pandemic thing, man, got me looking like, just wow. And I'm just going to ride it out. I'm going to do the Ben Roethlisberger. I'm not going to shave it myself or anything. I'm just going to see how crazy it gets. Be looking like Rick Ross before it's over. With no Beijing, by the way. I gotta call him out. But anyway, and I know that's just a joke. Look, let me say this real quick too, Kenyon. I know this is off rail, but I don't care about none of that stuff, man. But it's funny how you saw guys like Diddy and Kevin Hart and all of them. I mean, the grades were going crazy in this pandemic. It is what it is, man. If somebody dyes their hair or they get I don't care. Do whatever you feel like you need to do to look your best. I don't joke people for that. If that's what you prefer to do, who cares? I was just joking there when I said no Beijing. But if some of y'all listening do that, I have no problem with that. I have no problem if you dyeing your beard and dyeing your hair. Why not? I don't necessarily want to be salt and pepper either at this moment. Maybe later. So, whatever. I was just playing. But anyway, man, let me get back to the real script. I wonder how Deb and Lanisha feel about that being the ladies of the crew. I would love to see their comments on that. But here are the names, guys. And the list that I'm reading from is from Gil Brandt. If you don't know who that is, go do your homework. But he does a list every year of top 150 players that he ranks. And if you didn't listen to the Terrible podcast recently, it is insane at the percentage that he has when it comes through, the first round and then the second round and then on up to the top 100. His hits, I mean, he's averaging like 80%. I think Dave Bryan said, just this last draft, he picked 25 out of the first 32 got picked. Got even closer in the next set. In the second round, it's insane. So basically they said it's very likely that looking at the guys that are sitting at 41 through 59 on his list could probably be a Pittsburgh Steeler. And I'll read the names really quick. Neville Gallimore, D tackle from Oklahoma. I'm not familiar with him. Jalen Reagor, wide receiver. Jordan Brooks, linebacker. Lynn Bowden, wide receiver from Kentucky. T. Higgins. There's that guy that I talked about, from Clemson. Remember what I said? He could be your Martavis Bryant of the world. I think I said that last week or the week before. Keep an eye on that.
Last week.
You keep an eye on that. Yeah, Kenya said last week. Could be somebody. I'm just saying, if he's sitting there and if he's ranked high on their board, we don't know who's going to be gone before them. Our guy, Michael Pittman, would love to see that happen for several reasons. Cesar Ruiz, the center from Michigan. Jordan Elliott, D tackle Missouri. Denzel Mims, wide receiver from Baylor. Justin Matabuki, if I'm saying that correctly, D tackle for Texas A&M. Austin Davis. I actually need to watch some film on him. I had that on my list to watch him, so I'll definitely try to knock that out today or tomorrow. He's a safety from California. Jake Fromm, quarterback from Georgia. Oh, you do? Okay, good. Jake Fromm, Georgia. No, I don't want quarterback that early. And I don't necessarily think I want Jake Fromm. I'm sorry, I just got to say that. Cole Kmet, tight end from Notre Dame. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, running back, LSU. Antoine Winfield, we already know how we feel about him. I wouldn't be mad at that pick. Bradley Anae, edge from Utah. KJ Hamler, wide receiver from Penn State. And then Chase Claypool, wide receiver from Notre Dame. Now, out of those players, guys, Kenyon just gave you his rundown, so I won't be, I'll be quick because I think what Kenyon said was great. Probably, probably might fall that way. But I'm thinking too, man, out of these guys, excuse me, more than likely, if we go off of conventional wisdom, I have to agree with Dave Bryan and Alex Kazur, even though Kenyon and I said this last week. The Steelers, man, are going to go, I think, with bloodlines, especially during this time when you don't get the additional process that you normally go through. And I'm seeing that they're interviewing guys on FaceTime, like that the Weaver linebacker, I think, from California. Supposedly they had a FaceTime meeting with him. And it ain't the same, man. It's not the... To me, I think we know the Steeler way. In this scenario, more than any other time, they're going to stick to what they know. So I think Pittman or Winfield would be the top guys at that spot. And it's very possible that one, if not both of them, will be there. Now, I wanted to say this when Kenyon was speaking on it too, just to agree with him. Winfield might end up being like, think back to like, what's the guy that we wanted? Savage.
Savage last year. Yeah.
Could be a situation like that where somebody grabs him early. Where we all thinking second round, maybe third round. No. Somebody, Green Bay identified him like, nah, we'll take him. Let's get him a little earlier than everybody else. Winfield could be that. It's very possible. I mean, look at his production. That's the thing. His production and his versatility, some people will liken him to like a honey badger. He might go quick. Pittman, I think, will be there because even if you look at the receivers that are here in this list, if we expecting Gil Brandt to be fairly correct as he's been as far as percentage-wise, he's still sitting here with Rager. He's sitting there with Claypool, which we know some team is going to take a chance, probably just off of speed. Mims, Higgins, again, some teams fall in love with the highlight. They fall in love with big play capability. And I mean, cut on the tape. This dude has plenty of deep shots. All of those dudes could go before we pick. And Pittman could be sitting right there. So that's what I think. If I take those two guys out of the equation, who would I prefer? Who wouldn't piss me off? Kenyon might be talking me off the ledge from Rager, but I wouldn't be mad at that pick. I just would be curious, Kenyon, as to what we're going to do with him with a Deontay Johnson. I mean, what's his role? I mean, we could say, well, he could be the replacement of No Rack, and you have no complaint out of me from that. Because I think he returns kicks or something too, I think. Or I might be mixing him up with somebody else. But I wouldn't be mad at that. I wouldn't be mad at T. Higgins because of the big play. If Pittman was your guy that you were looking for, a big receiver, I'll take T. Higgins as just a guy who's big and fast. Mims, of course, but I think Mims would be gone. And then other than that, maybe Ruiz as a center. I wouldn't be upset about because we definitely need depth there. And let's face it, Pouncey hasn't been the greatest. these last couple years. Other than that, man, I'm going to rule out D-tackle. I'll rule out edge unless that guy is like that. That Brandon Anai, I don't really know nothing about him. I'm definitely going to rule out Jake Fromm. I won't rule out Austin Davis. I haven't watched him yet, but I hear his name a lot, so he has some buzz. So you kind of look at that as a Artie Burns versus William Jackson III situation. Winfield goes right before us, and they still want to go safety right there and a decent player. Maybe it's Davis. Other than that, nah, I don't feel it. Cole Kmet, nope, don't do that early. Edwards-Helaire, don't do that early, even though I do like him. None of those D tackles early. I'm just saying that position-wise. I don't really know these guys. I haven't scouted these guys, but position-wise, nah, I wouldn't like that. And that's about it as far as those names. I'm going to take a quick peek, guys, at who else is before those guys as far as the list. Let me look really quick at certain positions. So if we look at 1 through, let's say 32, I'm going to just look at receivers. See if I can find it. Actually, I can't. It's showing the list from last year. I mean, I can find it, but I don't have it pulled up right away. I'm only looking at the 41 through 59 at the moment. Oh, hold on. Here we go. I just go right to his post. And I'm going to NFL Network, so y'all are probably going to hear an ad in the background. No, it didn't take me there. That's weird. It took me to Game Pass. Whatever. We can look that up at another time. But anyway, off of those names, guys, that's kind of how I feel about it. No need to delay it anymore, Kenya. We might as well roll right into the Jalen Hurts situation, so I'll kick that off. It's like this, man. I don't want people to take this the wrong way. I've been a fan of Jalen Hurts, and I'll tell you why. I've liked him since college. I don't want to say it was unfair what happened to him in the championship game. I mean, he wasn't playing that great. Nick Saban did what he had to do. It worked out for him. Tua came in, did his thing, and everybody probably saw the writing on the wall at that point. Some people tried to criticize him for leaving and not fighting for his job. I disagree with that in terms of college. And here's the reason why. This ain't the league, bro. This ain't a place that I can sit here and compete with you for 4 years. I'm trying to keep my stock up so I can get drafted. And boy, did he make the right decision, because he balled out at Oklahoma. I was rooting for him big time. So he would be in the position where he is now, because I didn't want to see another situation where there's a talented quarterback, maybe not the greatest, but there's upside there, has a bad game, bad season or whatever, somebody replaces him, we never hear from him again. I didn't want that for Jalen Hurts. So as soon as he transferred, I was like, man, I hope he balls out, and he did better than I could have expected. I mean, he had a phenomenal season. With all that said, just speaking from Mel Kiper's point of view, his reason for us doing it is kind of what, y'all know what? I'm going to surprise y'all with this one. And Kenya, you probably will be surprised too. Mel Kiper actually makes somewhat of a good point, even though I don't think it's going to happen. I do agree with him that it is a copycat league. I do agree that you're probably going to need actually Dave T said this, so I won't give Mel Kiper this credit, so let me take that back. I disagree with Mel Kiper saying that that's why we're going to do it, because it's a copycat league. But what I do agree with is what Dave T said. It's becoming a mobile style quarterback league, man. Now, and I don't mean mobile guys like Lamar Jackson, because that's what, Mel Kiper was kind of making that parallel, saying, well, the Steelers are probably going to want to do the copycat thing. No, not Lamar Jackson. Mobile, to me, I think the new wave is Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is your prototypical, to me, NFL style quarterback combination pass and run, you can say Mahomes, but Mahomes doesn't take off as much as Russell. So that's why I'll still say Russell. Mahomes is just a freak, man. That guy, freak of nature with his arm. He can still run, but it still catches people by surprise because he's not a takeoff and run guy. That's why I say Russell Wilson. That, to me, is where I think the league is going to kind of transition to, even though I still think that you can win with a statue-esque type of quarterback. You can definitely still do that. I mean, the history shows that. But once again, new history shows us that Patrick Mahomes can win a Super Bowl. So, I don't know. But I do agree with that. And let's be honest. Let's talk after Ben Roethlisberger. I wouldn't mind seeing that style of quarterback if it's successful. Something different for us. I just don't know if the Steelers are feeling like that now at 49. I mean, everything is pointing to the fact that they're not going to go quarterback. As much as, what do we expect Rooney and Tomlin and Colbert to say? But I say all that to still say, listen to what everyone is saying. Mason Rudolph is our backup. Da-da-da-da-da. It doesn't sound like they have any interest at quarterback, especially not at 49. But there is a comma but. I know I'm reaching here, guys, but why not? We got nothing else to do. What if we throwing smoke and mirrors? What if we throwing people off the scent? And we don't want them to know what we looking at. What if, yes, Mason Rudolph is our number 2. Remember who else was always the number 2 when we wanted him to be supplanted? Landry Jones. What if it's one of those situations? Oh, yeah, he's our number 2. Oh, yeah, but we got Jalen Hurts in the stash. Never know. I'm not going to rule it out. Because, again, what we all have been saying, it would be blasphemous if myself and Kenya came on here now and said, they ain't going best available. We've been saying that's what they're going to do. Hurts could be the highest guy on their board. At 49, I don't know. I'm just saying. It's possible. Do I think they're going to do it? No, I don't. I don't think they're going to do it. I think it's more than likely going to be what Kenyon and I both said. One of the guys with bloodlines and a Pittman and a Winfield. Or the offensive lineman, Ruiz, the center, something like that. That's probably what it's going to be. Or let's just say Mims falls or Rager's there. That's probably where it's going to be. But I won't rule out Jalen Hurts if he's high on the Steelers board. And we talking about letting him sit there, groom him for 2 years. I would not be mad at seeing that type of quarterback because the way the league kind of is going. But I don't agree with Mel Kiper saying that is the only reason why the Steelers will do it. That I don't agree with. I think it is a far reach. I think that's more of a reach than the whole scenario I just painted for everybody. But it could be true. We'll see. But the question, Kenyon and chat, I want to know, how would everybody feel if this actually happened? How would you feel if, when I do a live draft show, and maybe since we don't pick it till that night, I might just be live during the draft. How would you feel if, when they stand up there and say the 49th overall pick in the NFL draft, Pittsburgh Steelers select Jalen Hurts, quarterback out of Oklahoma? What would be your gut initial feeling at that moment?
You asking me that question?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I just started calling him his number.
Need number 2 until he prove otherwise? Oh man, that's cold.
I don't see the logic. So it's kind of like, as I said before, I don't. Whenever Mel Kiper does mock drafts and he mocks people to Pittsburgh, he's never right. So I never listen to him. You know what I mean? Tommy Shea has a better percentage of who we picked than Mel Kiper does. Mel Kiper picks dudes.
Somebody just said, I ain't mean to cut you off, but this goes with your point. KSO Dangerous said Mel Kiper said TJ Watt was not a first round pick.
Sure did. Sure did. It's I don't listen. Like Mel Kiper is like, I just kind of don't listen to him because it's kind of like, I don't listen to him because it's kind of like, I don't listen to him because it's kind of like, I don't listen to him because it's kind of like, I don't listen to him because it's kind of like, I don't listen to him because it's kind of like, I don't listen to him because it's kind of like, I don't listen to him because it's kind of like, I don't listen to him because it's kind of like, I don't listen to him because it's kind of like, I don't listen to him because it's kind of like, I don't listen to him because it's kind of like, I don't listen to him because it's kind of like, I don't listen to him because it's kind of like, I don't listen to him because it's kind of like, I don't listen to him because it's kind of like, I don't listen to him because it's kind of like, I don't listen to him because it's kind of like, I don't listen to him because it's kind of like, I don't listen to him because it's kind of like, I don't listen to him because it's kind of like, I don't listen to him because it's kind of like, I don't listen to him because it's kind of like, I don't listen to him because it's kind of like, I don't listen to him because it's kind of like, I don't listen to him because it's kind of like, I don't listen to him because it's kind of like, I don't listen to him because it's kind of like, I don't l he can get maybe the first 2 picks right, but after that, you know what I mean, it's you know, there's it's just, you know, the people that, if you know Pittsburgh, and it's almost like, I think it's almost kind of like they're telling you that they like their quarterbacks, but some fans don't want to accept it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's kind of like they can tell you it 1,000 times, but if you don't pay attention, then, you know, you might miss what they're doing. I mean, Jalen Hurts to me has a lot of flaws that I don't think, like, if you watch him in the game, he has a lot of flaws. And there's something else that's so interesting is that, you know, people say, well, you know, he balled out of Oklahoma in that system. Yeah, he did. But, you know, he also got his job taken from him at Alabama, and he transferred. Says a lot. You know what I mean? That you got your job taken and you couldn't stick it out. You couldn't get the job back. You know what I mean? It says a lot to me. So, you know, I don't think this is the year that they draft a quarterback. I think they have to see what Mason Rudolph really is. And like, in a lot of ways, it was a redshirt year for Mason. He probably shouldn't have been in the game. But, you know, if you watch some of the things that that Mason does, how he was playing earlier, he was playing well, but there are certain things that he doesn't do that the other quarterbacks on the roster don't do. And look, don't be surprised, because Art Rooney said this. They like number 5.
Yeah.
They like him. So that's 4 quarterbacks. So think about it that way. They like him because he's a strong arm quarterback. He's really in the mold of Ben. Think about it. He can't run like Ben. Like Ben could, but he's in the mold of Ben.
And that's a pop quiz for the chat. Who's number 5? Let's see who's the first person to say who number 5 is.
So
y'all should know if y'all are Kenyon fans, because Kenyon been ragging this guy for. I mean, even at the thought of him being signed, was ragging on him.
It's almost, look. You know, Night Wolf got it. So it's kind of like, I just think it's one of those things where, you know, you have to look at it that way. They've already addressed that position in their eyes, because they feel like, say for instance, Ben gets hurt. Let's just play the scenario out. Ben gets hurt in the game and he misses some time, and you have Mason, and you have Duck, and you have number 5. If number 5 plays well at camp, or he plays well in the preseason, and he can elevate past Duck, and you put him right behind Mason, and I'll tell you right now, number 5 has better tools than Mason does. If you just go pure arm strength and arm talent, that's not close. Number 5 has a better arm. It's just that I don't know if he processes information well. And that's another thing about Jalen Hurts. He doesn't process information well. If you watch games, he didn't process information well. So you get in the pro level, that's a different discussion. And you can't compare him to Lamar Jackson. You can't compare him to
not even
these other quarterbacks, because he's not like them. And like, if you say he's close to somebody, and you say he's close to Russell Wilson, one thing about Russell Wilson when he was at Wisconsin, when he was in college, Russell Wilson could process information. He was really good at that. So, you know, it's just, you know, it's a lot of, you see somebody play one time, they don't meet up to the expectation that you have for them, because you just want to see your team win. So there's a lot of hate. There's a lot of, I don't like this guy. I don't like this guy. But I said it before, for all you guys who try to hate on certain players, and don't let them fail or let them grow. And then, you know, nobody can say anything. You can agree or disagree. Let them fail or let them progress. Using that same logic, I said it before, you guys should all be on 48, like I am. Since you guys is in the same mode, keep that same energy, because 48 did not play good those first 3 years. And I don't want to hear about the injury and all this other stuff, because the other guy on the other side has been playing 3 years and hasn't gotten hurt yet. Knock on wood. I hope he don't get hurt. Yeah. So you know, if you're going to keep the same energy on one certain situation, keep the same energy on that other situation. The perfect example would be, and Sim will tell you this, I didn't start calling 25. I started calling Ari Burns 25 until after year 3. I knew what he was. I had a nice little blueprint. You know what I'm saying? He had one good game his first year. He got a pick, and everybody thought he was gonna be great. I was like, I don't know. So it's kind of one of those things that, you know, I'm not hating on Jalen Hurts. He's cool, but he's not, you know, he's not a starting quarterback. He's not going to lead Pittsburgh to the Super Bowl. To me, he's not a franchise quarterback. I mean, you looking at it like he's a franchise quarterback. He's not. I can wait till next year and get a quarterback. There are quarterbacks coming out next year that are better than Jalen Hurts, and you can get them in the draft next year. There's at least 3 or 4, and I'm not talking about Trevor Lawrence because he's not getting unless we go 0-15. So, but there are other quarterbacks. So that's all I'm saying on when you start talking about certain players. That's all I'm saying. It's just like you have to look at the whole picture as simultaneously. You just have to you have to have patience. I try not to let my fandom get into it where I get angry and I'm done with somebody or start calling them trash. I'm trying not to call people trash because they're in the league and you ain't. So I can't really call them trash. You know what I mean? I can't call them trash because they're in the league. So it's, you know, I just think it's kind of like, you know, Hurts is a good player. If he give him time to develop, he kind of reminds me of the kid from UCLA from a couple of years ago. That's who Jalen Hurts reminds me of. The guy who played for UCLA a couple of years ago, who's like a backup for. He was in Green Bay. I think he was with the Cardinals last year, but he was a running quarterback. He was the same type of quarterback. They were the same to me. Never really developed. You know what I'm talking about? Hundley. That's what he reminds me.
90 seconds.
That's what he reminds me of. Oops. So it's kind of like, you know, it's, you know, I just say, you know, Mel Kiper mocking him to us. To me, that's a positive because now I know they're not going to draft him. Like when Mel Kiper mocks people to us, I'm like, oh, we ain't getting in. No way in heck. Mel Kiper's never great. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, you know, I mean, that's my thoughts on that. And to a point that you made earlier, Sam, about Austin Davis, because I have seen him play since I've seen him play like 3 years because, you know, they play USC every year. So he's nice. Sam.
Yeah, I'm going to definitely check him out, man, because I'm hearing a lot from him. Real quick, let me just say something here. And listen, guys, y'all can take it however you want to take it. You know, you're grown men, grown women. You can act however you want to act. But the only thing that I ask is let's keep more of a family environment here, man. Let's stop bashing people. I mean, we can have disagreements, but let's kind of chill out on the you're stupid, you're dumb, and you know, like I see, you know, and you know, I'll be respectful even though he's not being respectful to you, but I see, you know, people attacking your comment and saying, you know, you can't process information. Come on with that, man. We can all disagree. Because let me tell you something. I'm going to be wrong about some of these picks. Kenya's going to be wrong. Mel Kiper's going to be wrong. You guys are going to be wrong. Dave Bryant, Alex Kazor, Todd Michelle, everybody. We're just giving our opinion. None of us are professionals, right? But like I will say, I'll go to bat and say, you know, Kenyon is very good at this. Kenyon is great at scouting players. But he's just expressing his opinion. If you don't agree with it, that's cool. But we don't need to do all of the, you know, all of that. Because, like I said, I don't want this environment to be like that. I want us always to have a place as a collective, as fans. But we ain't got to deal with none of that. We can disagree. But we ain't got to deal with the finger pointing and you're stupid and that. Come on, don't do that. Let's not do that. And that goes for all of us. So even if y'all catch me doing it, call me on it. You know, because I don't want it to be like that. But anyway, like I said, man, everybody looks at different things as far as what they scout. And I could use a perfect example here. And I know my boy, Official Jumpman, that's in here, will follow me on this one. A lot of you guys know that I have an affiliation with EA Sports, you know, with Madden, right? And what do I always say about that game? As much as I want it to be a full-blown simulation where everything matters, there are millions of people that think that game is phenomenal. I argue with people, not argue, but I debate with people all the time about how good or how bad the game is. And I hear so many different opinions. But I can't tell the one guy who loves it that it's trash. I can't convince him of that. Or I can't convince the guy who thinks the game is pure trash that there ain't good things that actually happens in there. I look at all of it. Like, for you guys that know me from that side of things, I see the good and the bad in the game. But my point of saying that, just to use a different reference, that's how we all talk about players also. You know, we all see it differently. Kenya's going to look at it a different way. I might look at a guy a different way, even though a lot of times a lot of us agree with the same things, but that ain't always the case. So I say all that just to say, let's not have that type of thing going on here, man. Let's just, you know, be very, you know, we can debate and have our opinions, but let's not do the negative stuff. I'd prefer not to do that. But yeah, man, I don't see it either, man. I don't see Hurts. I mean, listen, I'm not opposed to, if the Steelers think he's the guy and they pick him, fine. Let's see if they develop him. But I definitely don't see it at 49. Does he have talent? Sure. You know, was he successful in college? Sure he was. But that doesn't necessarily mean, let's not forget, Mason Rudolph was successful in college, and a lot of people would say that dude sucks. And let me comment on that too. I saw somebody in the chat try to get on me because I said that Rudolph sucked, you know, and they saw me do the film study. I probably did say in one of those film studies, man, he don't have it. He just don't have it. Probably the Cleveland game when I was like, how do you miss this guy on 4th down right in front of you? But do y'all listen to everything I say, or do you just hone in on one thing? Am I also the same guy that continues to say, I ain't ready to throw him in the trash yet? I say that religiously. I think he still has room to grow. Some of you guys disagree, which is fine. Some of y'all think, nah, he's a bum. He ain't never going to be nothing. That's fine. Y'all don't see me getting on you. I just say, nah, I don't know, man. I think there's still an opportunity there because he kind of, to me, he has the tools if he applies the tools, if that makes sense. He has it if he just doesn't. But I don't know if he's ever going to do it. I'm just saying, I ain't ready to give up on him yet. So, no, I don't think he's pure trash. But he definitely, and that's kind of what I think Kenyon is saying about Hurts. He sees things in him right now that he does not think will translate in the NFL. It doesn't mean that the guy sucks. It's just that, I don't know. So, that's all, man. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll just make a quick comment. I don't have anything to get. I actually like Jalen Hurts' story. I like his demeanor. I like his leadership. These are all things I like about him. I think those are things that you really can't see that to me would elevate him. But it's just the stuff. It's the stuff when you watch him on the field that you say to yourself, can that translate? Or is he a second round pick? Is he a 49 type player to me? Would you pick him at 49? Now quarterbacks always go higher in some drafts. Sometimes they go higher when they shouldn't go high. You can argue that Mason Rudolph went too high. Some people would say that. So, and I'm not saying that I like Mason. I've never said I like Mason Rudolph. But once you draft somebody, we all have to get behind him to see if he's actually going to be good or not before we make a judgment on the player. You have to give him time to develop. Like I said, develop or fail. So, and as Sim said earlier, look, I'm not going to disrespect anybody in the comments. I'm not going to do all that stuff. I don't have to do that. It's like I'm too old for that, man. It's like, grown. It's like, come on, man. It's like I start attacking you. I'm feeding into what you're doing, and that's taking it to a lower level. Once you start attacking people, calling people out their name, that says more about you. Doesn't say more about the person that's receiving it. So I don't have to do all that. It's like I'm past that point. So we can agree to disagree. You can like who you like. I'm gonna like who I like. And as I said before, I like Hurts, but I'm not taking him in the second round. It's like, why would I do that? It's just I don't think it's a need for the Steelers. I don't think the Steelers, they rarely need draft anyway. So I don't think it's a need. But I hope Hurts is good. I think you put him in the right system, he would be great. But I don't know if he's a franchise quarterback, if I can see that. But look, keep it 100. Nobody saw Tom Brady being a franchise quarterback.
Nope.
So
you
never know. So I'm just basing it what I've seen from him. And do I think the Steelers need to draft their heir apparent, in this draft? I don't know. I think I'm with Sim. I think that window passed, and they may have to wait another year. The window passed when Kansas City drafted who Sim really wanted.
Oh man!
So,
my God.
so I would have to agree with him on that. You know what I mean? The Steelers have done that twice now. You know what I mean? They missed on two potentially Hall of Fame quarterbacks. One's in the Hall of Fame, and the other one, you know what I mean, might be on his way. So,
yeah.
you know, it's you know, I just try to tell you basically what I try to see. As Sim said, I'm going to be wrong a lot. I just try to be I try to be right 50% of the time. That's it. If I can do that, I'm high. 50%. That's it.
We all just shooting in the dark. I mean, not really in the dark. We're using educated guess and conventional wisdom, but I never take, and I know Kenyon doesn't, and most of you guys probably don't, but we don't take these things personal. Like, we're just giving our thoughts. You know, we have no idea what the Steelers are thinking. Because remember, guys, and I know it was kind of the same regime, but this is the same team who drafted Dennis Dixon.
Yep.
Now, I like Dennis Dixon as far as watching him play at Oregon. I didn't necessarily like him as a quarterback in a system where you have Ben Roethlisberger, and I want to say Charlie Batch was still there at the time, or Leftwich. I was like, huh? He's nothing close to these guys. I didn't understand that at the time. And look what happened. This is also the team that drafted Cordell Stewart at a time when that style of play wasn't necessarily popular. Now, had Cordell came in the league in 2018, oh boy.
Oh my God.
Oh boy. They talking about us like they talk about the Ravens maybe.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, we never knew. We never know. They could mess around and draft him. I don't know. But speaking of Mason Rudolph, man, I did want to comment on what some of the guys in here were comparing him to Landry Jones, and some guys are saying, hey, man, he can't fill the pocket. That's kind of Pee-wee League stuff. I get what you guys are saying, man, but let me say this. Let's get off of Mason Rudolph, and let me give another example. We have all seen, I'm sure we've seen a quarterback come into the NFL that looked like he wasn't going to be much and finally got it. I think we all can agree on that. So all I'm saying with my standpoint when I say I'm not giving up yet, let's see. It ain't really costing us nothing. Let's see. Let's see. I mean, of course, if Ben Roethlisberger goes down, then we're talking about another situation. But realistically, you don't predict injury either. The Steelers are probably looking at it like, look, man, we're going to get Ben back. It was a non-contact injury, so technically it wasn't wear and tear that, well, in a way it was, but it wasn't necessarily his body being broke down by hits that put him out the game. It was over the years, something wasn't right with the elbow, so they would think he's going to come back healthy. He's going to finish out his contract. You got a couple years to see what these guys can do in preseason and in the practice situation. And let's see. Let's see if we can salvage our third-round pick. That's all it is. Whether he's going to be that or not, we don't know. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to give him the keys. I'm just saying it ain't going to hurt us to see if he can work on his inconsistencies. You would think if he wants to be a quarterback in the league, he gets with somebody. Or now we actually have a quarterback coach that could get him right. And that's all I'm saying. Maybe he will be something. Maybe not. So that's all I'm saying, guys. None of us have the answer, man. None of us have the answer. We'll just have to wait and see. I did want to comment on Rell Facts' comment, and thank you for the donation, by the way. I told you I would remember and come back and get your comment. He says the media is pushing for us to draft a quarterback or pick up Jameis Winston to supplant Ben Roethlisberger. The Winston thing ain't going to happen, folks. Let's just be real. He says it's obvious bias towards Ben in the media for some reason. I have reason to. Here's my reasoning on that, guys. And it's going to get a tad bit dark. I'm going to be honest with y'all, man. Let's be honest. We got to go there. I'm going to go with the lighter reason first, and then I'm going to go with the dark reason. Ben Roethlisberger is very passive-aggressive. I think some people don't like that. As far as just your standard media people or your standard media / players. And I understand that. But here's the real reason. Let's not forget that our Super Bowl winning, more than likely Hall of Fame quarterback Ben Roethlisberger was in trouble with the law, and there were some rape allegations at one time in his career. That's it. I'm pretty sure as far as the bias towards he's not this, he's not that, we're all human, guys. We know how it works sometimes when somebody rubs you the wrong way. You don't want to have nothing to do with them. That stung people. Till this day, it's still people that bring that up for no reason at all in the media. When I'll be watching. Now, listen, I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with. Don't peg me in that. I'm not saying we should have turned a blind eye, nothing like that. You know, I know Deb and Lanisha probably like, hold on now, Sam. No. I ain't saying that. Because me personally, I think there was some smoke there. Ben did something. I don't know quite what he did, but let me tell you something, man. We all human, and a good portion of us here are men. And we either we know somebody who might have went a little too far with something, or we've seen it and it was like, whoa, I don't know if I would have did that. Right? It ain't gonna be but so many allegations before something was a little off. Might not have actually did what she said, but there was something that was a little off with him. A little rough or something, or a little, the first no doesn't matter. Something happened. Let's be real. It did, man. Because he had the same, remember guys, there was a little peek at it in college that they kind of swept. Remember when he was going through his allegations, that story popped up. That it was something similar happened in college. That just sounds like a character thing. Right? But I'm not going to sit here and act like it didn't happen. So I'm not excusing it, but I'm sure that's part of the reason. I'm sure. And speaking of that, man, this has nothing to do with Ben Roethlisberger, but just to show you guys how sometimes when there's smoke, there's fire. I actually happen to know Darren Sharper personally. Okay? I know him personally. You know, we grew up in the same area. His father was my driver's ed teacher. I ain't know Darren was like that, B. But the more and more that I talk to certain people, you know, it was just, I've heard that there was a couple things that just didn't seem quite right. And then after all them girls came out with the same allegation, and I'm not going to go too far down that road, man, because listen, I know his family. I know him personally. I ain't going to do that to him. But I'm just saying, there was smoke there, and obviously there was enough fire for him to get convicted, and the certain things they found in his crib, and y'all know the story. And if you don't, y'all go look it up for yourself. But that's all I'm saying. Something probably happened with Ben. So I'm not going to take up for him. But I'm pretty sure that's part of the stain as to why the media turns its nose up at him sometimes. Because, you know, people, it's like the Michael Vick thing with the dogs. Some people ain't never going to let that go. So, there you go.
No. And the only thing I'll say about the Ben situation is I have a friend that works. I'm not going to get into the story, but I just know something about the second situation with Ben where he was accused of stuff, but that story that they put out there may not be true because I have a friend that worked with someone who is Ben's one of his friends, his closest friends, and he was actually there when this incident happened. So he saw the whole thing. So I'm not saying Ben's a saint because he's not. He did some. I agree with Sim. There's where the smoke, there is fire. But one of the situations I know has been refuted. Right. But they just don't want to talk about it because they don't want to. You know what I mean? It's like it's over. So, but just you know, sometimes you know, it gets kind of sketchy. Just you know, when you go out at night, it gets sketchy. That's pretty much it. Yeah. It gets sketchy. So
those are facts.
Got to watch who you walking around. Yeah, you got to watch who you walking around with, hanging out with, and you know.
You got to be careful.
That's all I'm going to say about that.
It's the same reason why, you know, and for some of you guys who are younger, you know, y'all know even on my other podcast, I like to throw life lessons out there sometimes. It's the same reason why your boy, I'm happy that I was either taught this way by my family and parents and older brother and Floyd, my cousin Floyd, like an older brother. But for whatever reason, I had the sense of never going there with a chick when she was drunk. Never. Even when she was giving it up to you, like, no, come on. I used to be like, nah, I'm good. Because my thing is, I don't ever want nothing to come back and you say you don't remember that. Nah, no, thank you. And I've seen it, guys. I've seen it. I've been around groups of guys, and I was like, fam, don't do that. Nah, man, don't do that, bruh. Don't do it. All right, you on your own. As long as you, and listen, I'll tell y'all a quick story. Something like that actually happened, right? Just so happened. Here's the funny story about it. I actually happened to be in the vehicle with 3 other guys. They see a girl that we used to go to school with. She's drunk. She needs a ride home, right? I was in the passenger side. Another guy was driving. 2 guys in the back. Intuition told me, what y'all doing back there? And without being X-rated, I'm going to just tell y'all, the guys was filling her up and stuff like that. And I said, yo, don't do that, man. Yo, she drunk. I wouldn't advise it. They didn't listen. Whatever happened. I see the girl. Just by circumstance, I see her in the mall the next day. How crazy is this? She walks up to me and says, thank you for being who you were last night. But those other dudes, they gonna pay for that. And she ain't say nothing else. I don't know what happened. I'm just saying. Fellas, trust me on this one. Don't do it. Unless it's your girl, and y'all have some drinks together, but don't do it, man. Please don't do it, because I'm telling you, that's how fast things can change. Even though somebody might say they sane at the moment, just like that. I don't remember what happened last night. I think something went down. Oh, with who? Don't do it, folks. Don't do it. That's all I'm gonna tell you. But yeah, man. Back to football. I think that's why that's why they got a thing for Ben, man. I really believe that in my heart. I could be wrong, but I think that's part of it. But like I said, his attitude, man. Ben comes off a little, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes he comes off a little shaky, especially when he's throwing people under the bus. He's my quarterback, and I like Ben for what he's been and hopefully what he can be, but facts are facts. Ben is that passive aggressiveness, man. Players don't like that. And a lot of them players are in the media. And a lot of those guys, like my man Primetime, if y'all really pay attention, Dion don't fool with Ben, man. If y'all really pay attention to how he talk, he does not fool with Ben because of those exact reasons. He don't like how Ben carry himself. So, there you go, man. There you go.
And when you passive aggressive, like you said, it rubs everybody the wrong way, because it's essentially not taking the blame for the situation. And when you throw other people under the bus and you're supposed to be riding with them, oh man. I'm not gonna say no names, but Ben's not the only one that does that. You know what I'm saying? And
absolutely.
Tries to get away with it. And they respect you if you're real. That's kind of the way they respect you, or keep it within the team compound.
Man, I gotta address this real quick. This is real light. Look, Tyrone Patton, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry if you don't like our style of commentating. It's all good. This is what we do. Everybody who watches us all the time know that. The live thing, we go here, go there. That's, to me, I'm not saying it because of myself and Kenyon, but that's what I like sometimes when I watch podcasts and things, is that you never know what direction it goes in. I prefer that. Like, case in point, for you guys that might be familiar with Joe Budden, I love the Joe Budden podcast because they go from here to there to there to there and then back. But it's entertaining. But apparently he doesn't like that we stay on a point too much, and then he says it has nothing to do with football. But it's all good, man. Look, I'm not bashing you. I'm just saying this is what we do. So maybe you're new here, so I just want you to know what to expect. We stick to the point, but then sometimes we go left, and then we come back to the right, and then we go down the middle. And my bad. You know, everybody ain't for everybody. So it's all good. But, you know, feel free to say whatever you want to say. You know, I don't take anything personal, but go ahead. What else we got, Kenya, man? Is there anything to really address tonight?
I will tell you, you know what? I'll give you this profile just before the draft so you guys can at least have a little information on certain people that I kind of scouted, that I looked at, which would be Josh Uche. I talked about him a little bit, but his best skill is pass rush. I watched 2 games with him, and what I did realize is that he's a situational linebacker who only played situational downs his senior year at Michigan. So when you're watching the tape or highlights of him, they're only showing you when he's on the field in those situations. He's not an every down linebacker. So I would not say he was better than. So I would say UG3 is better than him. You understand what I'm saying? Because UG3 can do the same things he does, but he's more versatile. The one guy I will tell you about, Sim, who I really like, and I think you really need to watch this dude play. And I watched whole games, and I watched him against Power 5 or big conferences. Was Antonio and what's his name? Antonio Gaither, linebacker out of Akeem Davis Gaither out of Appalachian State.
Yeah.
Small school guy. He's 6'2", rangy, like a poor man's. I guess if we didn't get Isaiah, from Clemson, that's going to go in the top 3. He's kind of. I watched him against North Carolina and South Carolina. Sim. In the South Carolina game that I watched him in, he had 2 sacks, 2 pass defenses, 2 pass deflections, 2 pass breakups, 4 hurries, drew 3 holding penalties. He had 3 tackles for loss, and he had 8 tackles total. Now the only thing about him is that he's 218. Now some people say he's too light, but I'm like, not in sub package. You telling me he can't put on what? If he puts on 5 pounds, if he can get to 225, correct?
There you go. Yeah, pretty much. Should be able to.
So I would just say that he's nice. I don't know if the Steelers are looking at him, but he's all over the field, Sam. All over the field, and they line him up everywhere. They put him. He can cover. They put him on the. They rush him off the edge. They rush him up the middle. He's just a small school guy. I don't know if they would go for the small school guy, but I saw him against 2 Power 5 teams, and he balled out in both games. That's all I'm saying. And that was the 2 people I really focused in on. I watched games on those guys, and I watched Quez Watkins out of Southern Miss, wide receiver. I watched the game with him, and he's fast. Kind of reminds you of kind of like a poor man's T. Higgins. And somebody mentioned before, I actually like him, but I think you can get him later rounds if Steelers don't draft wide receiver at 49. You can probably get him later rounds if they want him. But he's nice too. I think he has problems against like press coverage. So I think they played Alabama and they were press covering him, and he was having issues getting off of the off of the press. Yeah, watching that, and I was just watching that certain juniors that we'll see in the future. If the Steelers want an offensive lineman, I will tell y'all right now, look for this dude Penny Sewell out of Oregon. He's a left tackle, right tackle. He might go top 5, but he is the second coming. He might be Anthony Munoz, part 2.
Good gracious.
And that's saying a lot.
Yeah, that's saying a whole lot.
And that's saying a lot.
Talk about that guy from that you mentioned today, because I heard Dave T talk about him. I think is it a D tackle from Utah? I think he's a D tackle.
Oh, okay, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Lecky Fotu out of Utah.
Yeah, there you go.
I watched him out of. I've seen him like for 3 years. Look, now what he is basically is he's a traditional nose tackle in a 3-4. That's the best. That's the way I could put it to you. So if you want to think, Big Snack, if you want to call him Big Snack, he's kind of like that. He has a little bit more wiggle to him than Big Snack. But against USC, man, look, I watched him against USC. I'm just gonna say this: he knocked the quarterback out the game on the second play of the game. He knocked USC starting quarterback out the game on the second play of the game. He knocked him out, concussion. He's a terror. But I don't know and you probably could get him in the fourth. He'd probably be there if they want a traditional guy to replace, Hargraves. But it's just a matter if they want that type of a player. But he's traditional. He's better than what we have now at nose tackle, unless they're going to play Wormley at nose tackle.
I was just about to say. I can't wait to see what they're going to do with Wormley. Because, Tomlin, and we already know this, Tomlin basically made the case that, and it's visual evidence, that we didn't use the traditional base defense. We didn't use Hargrave as much. We had to a little more this past year because to it, but we know before that, we kind of want our guys to be more dual threats, which I think Hargrave was. We just couldn't keep him. So I'm interested to see if Wormley is going to get some action, man, in the nickel and things like that. How are they going to use him? That's going to be interesting.
Right. Because the question I would ask you is, when they're playing base 3-4, who's playing the nose tackle?
Yeah. And
you know what I'm saying? Like, do you put Wormley? I mean, I don't think they want Big Dan, even though I think Big Dan has improved. Another example of not giving up on a player. Another example, not giving up on a player. He's kind of improved. I don't know if they're going to. They're listing Wormley as a nose tackle. If you look at the Steelers website and you look at their roster, he's not listed as a defensive tackle. He's not listed as a defensive end. He's listed as a nose tackle. Yeah. So if they play him in a traditional 3-4 nose tackle and let him be a rotational guy along with Bugs, you know what I mean, to come in the game when Tuitt and Hayward get a breather, then that's fine. But if you want a traditional nose tackle that you can get late, I would say Leke Fotu out of Utah. If you can watch tape on him, he's a beast. Another guy is the guy I think Dave talked about from Baylor. I watched Baylor versus Georgia the other day. It was on ESPN. Watch that. And they have a nose tackle. He has short arms, but he really looks like Casey Hampton. He looks like Casey Hampton Part 2. I don't know if the Steelers run that defense. I think they've went away from the traditional 3-4. They run more nickel. They want to beat you with speed. As Sim said, your defensive linemen have to be. They want the defensive linemen to be able to rush and to be versatile and let them play nickel and just let them cover and get after the passer. So, but Leke Fotu is somebody I would suggest keep an eye on. Thanks for reminding me about this. And that's basically it. That's the people I've watched. Austin Davis from Cal. I watched him. Yeah, he's really good.
I'm gonna check him out. I'm actually gonna watch him tonight. I ain't got nothing to do in the next hour or so.
Yeah, really fast, and make sure you give me your analysis on him because I have an analysis on him, but yours will help me because it gives a nice little balance. So yeah, watch him but yeah, I would just look out for those guys. I think that I don't know if the Steelers are gonna be necessarily. I don't think nose tackle's a need, but I think they will draft one. Just like I'm really convinced they're going to draft an offensive tackle this draft. I just don't know where they're going to get them at. So that's basically it. That's what I've gotten so far. I'm gonna get into some more casts before the draft. Draft is 9 days away, so I think I'm gonna watch some film on Antonio Gibson, running back wide receiver.
For us.
Yeah, you're right. 10 days for us. My bad. 10 days for us. So, man. Yeah. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do for the first round, man? Nothing.
We might do something. I mean, I usually Thursdays are the other podcast, but I might boot that one like I did last year. And I mean, I guess we can still do kind of just sit around and watch it. I don't expect any activity from us, but I'm not opposed to, at least if we just talk it up. Matter of fact, we could sit here and talk about, who went and who might for sure be there tomorrow and who we think we're going to get. So, yeah, we can still do something. We can still do something.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's about all I got tonight too, man. That we went an hour and a half, y'all. That was really, really quick. It didn't seem like that long. There was one other thing I thought I wanted to mention, man, in the comments, and I missed it. Well, let me do that. Well, for a quick 3 minutes or so, we'll read a few of these comments because you guys were commenting away. Sacktown Steelers says, let's hope so. He got to be better than Truck Randolph. And with the signing of them two bums, I think he meant to say Duck and wait. He says Truck Randolph. That Truck Randolph. So he's calling Randolph a truck. And with the signing of them two bums, Ebron and Watt, we're going to need a back that can play just in case Ben gets hurt. If not, we are in trouble. Respect the comment, Sacktown. But like I said, everybody looks at things differently. Why are we calling Derek Watt a bum? I don't know. I mean, how many of us really look at fullbacks? So maybe, you know what I mean? Like maybe you're saying that because of that position. I don't know. Maybe he really thinks he's a bum, but I don't know. That doesn't come to mind to me when I think Derek Watt. Heck of a special teams player, so you got to think that might be the reason why we signed him, as well as the fact that he is a fullback and there's no more Rosie Nix. Ebron, that's questionable, but I still think Ebron can be not as fast, but I think we're going to use him the same way we attempted to use Ladarius Green. I think he's just going to be a middle threat, vertical threat, and there you have it. That's how I look at it. I think that's what we're going to do with him.
You don't think they're going to do two tight end sets with him and Vance?
Oh, like some 12 person? Yeah, maybe. But I haven't studied it, but just kind of listening to what others are saying. They're saying his blocking isn't that good, but doesn't mean we have to run out of 12. That could be. I love 12 personnel when you got guys who can catch. But I know that both him and Vance got drop issues. But I love that, man, because you're gonna get a defense in more of a base look. If you could catch them like that and pass out of it, yeah, I think we'll see some 12 personnel on the field. That'd be cool. We shall see. Mr. Ab says, Sim Kenyon. I wonder if Steelers fans would view Rudolph different had he not had to play so soon. He says, any young quarterback having to start too early in their career is not necessarily a good thing to me. Fully agree, man. I mean, and some guys are great talents right out the gate and some aren't. Some guys have to warm up. I just think it's too early to officially call it. Now, after this year, if we see that he hasn't changed at all, because I think all of us, most of us anyway, after preseason, we were saying, he's the number 2. We were saying that hands down. So maybe we'll see that type of jump again this year. We'll see a difference from last preseason to this one. If not, maybe he was a miss. He's not the guy. Daryl Duke says it's a left tackle out of Mississippi State. Phillips looks real good, and he also the offensive tackle out of UConn. He also looks real good. All right, I'll check those guys out. Maybe Kenya knows who they are. I actually don't. Why Digger? I'm gonna read this because y'all know I'm a super duper hip hop head. He says, "Off football, what did you think of the RZA versus DJ Premier?" Well, y'all might not believe it because I didn't say it personally, but I had a feeling that the RZA had a close opportunity to win that battle. And here's the reason why. DJ Premier, hands down, is, come on, classic, right? Mm-hmm. But I think people sleep on RZA's production. For people who fell in love with the Purple Tape like I did y'all listen to the production on that album? Bruh, the RZA changed the game. He changed the game with his sound. Like, I think people forget that out of the Wu-Tang members, this dude made individual albums that most of us heard from Method Man, GZA, Raekwon, Old Dirty, and Ghostface. None of those albums sound alike. And that was my whole point going into it. Was like, yo, don't sleep on the RZA. But I think it was a great battle. it's hard for me to say who won because their styles are different. I think hip hop won because it's all of that stuff that's going on right now with with DJ Nice and his club quarantine, and like it's classic, man. Like the Timberland and just Swiss Beats battle. This is great stuff, man, happening amongst this pandemic, to keep your mind off it. But that's about all I got to say about that. But I told y'all RZA was going to show up. I already knew. Y'all was sleeping on my man.
RZA also has We Love You, Rakim. We don't talk about that.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit too old. Man.
Bobby Digital.
Don't talk about that, though. Don't talk about that, though. You know what I'm saying? So
him and Jizza back in the day.
Him and Jizza, yeah. Back in the day.
Yeah, man. Y'all sleeping on it. Like, y'all acting like he not the RZA. Like, people was really writing him off like he won't go have a shot. I was like, are y'all crazy? But anyway, I guess the millennials don't know, man. But the millennials ought not know about DJ Premier either, to be honest.
That's true. Yeah. They don't. I mean, think about it. They can't go. They're not going to. I mean, think about it. DJ Premier. Come on, man. If you just go Gangstar and just leave it there, you can just start there. Then go after that. So, it's just. I don't know.
Got hits, man.
Like you said, they don't know.
They don't know. I'll read a few more, man. I know I'm behind as far as the order, but I wanted to go back and grab some of the early ones. Still Maiden says, I was telling you about Lynn Bowden last week, but I love Claypool. And he puts love, Loove. So he really loves Claypool. He says, we draft him, it's a wrap. Yeah, like I said, I always defer to Kenyon on this one because Kenyon made a great point. I believe Dave Bryant kind of said the same thing. Yep. With his intangibles and his size and his speed, it seems like the production should have matched. So that's kind of a concern. I mean, you could always say, did he have the best quarterback and did they scheme for him? You could always say that, but again, we could be wrong, but we have to give our opinion off of what we're currently seeing. And at the moment, you do got to say that. A guy that big and fast, you would think, would be dominating. It doesn't. It's kind of like what I said about Martavis Bryant early in his career. My biggest beef with Martavis was he is tall and fast as you are. Why don't you attack the football?
Yep.
Never really high pointed the ball. Think about it. Juju, to me, and I know I'm going to get heat for this because some of y'all hate Juju, but I love the way Juju attacked the football, especially when he first came in. He was making more high point catches than anybody we had seen in a minute. And that's how I wanted Martavis to play. Aggressive. And I never saw that from him. So that's how I kind of feel about Claypool without necessarily scouting him. That dude's numbers should be definitely more than what we have. But I don't know, man. It could be system. I don't know. Not
Can I chime in on that?
Yeah. Take it away.
Claypool and Martavis Bryant is the perfect example. Now, I would say Martavis Bryant never played like he was 6'4".
Yeah.
I think we can all agree on that. He never played like he was 6'4". He played like he was like 5'10", 5'11", and wanted the ball to come to him, and he wasn't aggressively attacking the ball. Whereas like Juju is 6'1", and he tries to get it. Juju will moss you if you give him a chance to. He will do it. He actually will do it. He's done it.
Yeah.
So, Claypool to me, and I'm telling you, if you watch Notre Dame games, he's a physical specimen. But you do say to yourself, and some people say, well, it's the quarterback that you have. When you say it's the quarterback, and you say, I remember Notre Dame's quarterback from last year, and they say he was a running quarterback, but they threw the ball a lot at Notre Dame. My point is this: when you compare receivers, you can't. When you give me the situation of a quarterback, I always say to myself, okay, well, so if Michael Pittman played for USC, their starting quarterback was JT Daniels. He got knocked out in the first quarter of the first game against Fresno State. He was done for the season. They put in a freshman quarterback who had never taken a snap at USC, and Pittman still got off. He got knocked out of the game against Utah. They put in the third string quarterback, and Michael Pittman still was showing out. So what does that tell you? Is it the quarterback, or does the receiver have to make plays when the ball is thrown to him?
Yeah.
This is just the way I look at it. You can't, a quarterback can only do so much. You still have to catch balls, and sometimes quarterbacks are not good. I told Sam earlier, the Florida State quarterback was not good. he wasn't making plays. Both quarterbacks that I saw, I didn't like either one of them. But you still have to make plays. Maybe Pittman is different as opposed to them. Maybe it didn't matter. Maybe you can't say it's a system situation. So it's, I'm just saying. I like Claypool. He ran a great time. I just don't know. The production just doesn't match what you see. For him to be that physically imposing, it just doesn't. You don't see it.
Don't see it, man. Yeah, you know what it reminds me of, and y'all might laugh at this, but that's how I used to feel about Brandon Jacobs, man, as a running back. I used to be like, you are too big to not. You're supposed to be running over everybody. Everybody. The dude just, to me, never played with his size. Pause. That's a pause statement. But he never played the way he's, to me. And he always used to get all hype if he run over a little DB. I used to be like, bruh, you like 6'4", 250 out there. Or whatever he was. Man, he just never, to me, he wasn't. He ain't run harder than Marion Barber. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the type of dude I need to see when you built like a tank. You that tall and big, you need to be smashing dudes. And he just, to me, his run style never matched that size. Look, the other dude too. I mean, he wasn't a bruiser either, but he's big. Murray. Murray's kind of the same. Oh way. Yeah. Latavius, yeah. But I ain't gonna compare him to Jacobs, but Jacobs is really the point to me. Is that dude just never? Imagine if he ran like Bettis. Come on, man. Never lived up to the hype. But all right, guys, one last comment, and then we'll get out of here. Sorry if we missed one, but I want to read this last one because this kind of, I don't want to say it proves my point because it's not about my point, but this is what I'm saying. Is sometimes when we make our assessments, we have to look at the total picture. We can't just hone in on the one minute point that we're trying to make. Let me read this to you guys. And in Sacktown Steelers, this is not me picking at you. I'm just going to try to explain to you what I mean about how I try to analyze things. He says, out of 6 quarterbacks, Rudolph was drafted last in the 3rd round, and this dude was supposed to be the next coming out of OSU. And coming in cocky, he couldn't perform. But Allen, Donald, Mayfield, and they all rookies, and they started. But here's the thing that you're leaving out. They were drafted to start. These guys were, like, we can't compare Rudolph to those guys, in my opinion, only because Rudolph was specifically drafted to sit and learn, and maybe you're going to be the guy for us at some point. Donald and Mayfield and Allen were just thrown out there, but they were drafted as the franchise quarterback for right now. And if I might add this, it ain't like them dudes been balling. They all right. Now, I'm not going to compare them to Rudolph. I'm not saying that that's not what but I'm saying it's not like these dudes have been lights out. So to me, that comparison don't move me. And again, it's not a disrespect to you. I'm saying that's not a that doesn't move the needle at all for me because of the situation they were drafted in and because of their performance. They haven't been great. And they've actually played more football than Rudolph, if we're going to be honest. So that's all. And also, let me throw this side note on there for if Tyrone is still listening. This is how you debate and have disagreements in a grown fashion. We're not attacking. We're just disagreeing. We ain't got to do all the nonsense. But yeah, Kenyon, you want to add to that real quick before we get out of here?
Yeah, I mean, to bring up Darnold and those guys are franchise quarterbacks coming up. Like, you draft them and they start immediately. So that's not Mason Rudolph wasn't drafted. The Steelers never said that. I think that's the funny part. The Steelers never made a comment. Colbert, Tomlin, none of them ever said that Mason Rudolph was the heir apparent. The media, some people in the media said that, but the Steelers never said that. And also, you can point out that they said Ben was upset when Mason came there. It's like, yeah, he should be upset because, Brett Favre didn't like A-Rod when he got drafted.
Right.
He did not help him at all. So it's kind of like, that's somebody coming for your job. They draft somebody in your position. They thinking about that's your job, especially if they go in the first 3 rounds. But I don't, Mason Rudolph is an unfinished product. And let's keep it 100. Coming out of college, he was a good quarterback. And I watched him. I didn't say, oh, this guy could be a franchise quarterback. I never said that when I saw him play. I said, he's good. He could develop into something. But a the term franchise quarterback means that guy, you can build around that guy for the next 10 to 12 years. I.e. Drew Brees, i.e. Tom Brady, i.e. Ben Roethlisberger. Anybody you want to throw in there. You know what I mean? Teddy Bridgewater, they considered him a franchise quarterback when he came out. Has he been a franchise quarterback?
Yeah, and I like Teddy too, man.
Think about it. So, I think it's just kind of like, you have to let Mason develop, and I do agree with he probably did play a little bit too early. And, one thing I have to, always point out is that, the guy who just won the Super Bowl, and they say he just came and he was balling out. No, he didn't play the first 14 games of the season for Kansas City. He sat on the bench. They brought him in at the end of the season when Kansas City was out the playoff race. I don't know if people remember that, but that's when they brought him in the game and let him develop. They let him play and get some feel, and then he took off to next year. So I think Mason was put in a situation where, and another thing, Randy Fichtner may not have trusted Mason. Look at the play call, because I'll never forget Sim texting me saying, what was that play? What is he calling there? That's Fichtner. Not trusting the quarterback. Being put in a situation where he has to change the offense on the fly. Because the offense was set up for Ben Roethlisberger. We're going to see this year. We'll know this year. Because Fichtner will have no excuse if Ben gets hurt. He will have to be able to adapt. So, I'm just saying. I mean, let's just hope.
Yeah.
I try to be positive. Let's let Mason do what he's going to do. And
that's it, man.
We'll see. If he's not the quarterback, we'll draft one next year. It is what it is.
That's it. I think that's a great way to end it. Nobody is campaigning for Rudolph. Y'all should know that about myself by now. You should know that about Kenyon by now. A good amount of us in the chat. We just Steelers fans, man. We don't fall in love with certain players. If Rudolph ain't it, he's not it. All I'm merely saying is I personally don't know that yet. And I could be wrong. I could be late. Some of you guys could have a better eye. It ain't about that. I'm just saying I'm going to give him a little more time. Even though I've seen the things that I don't like about him, I think he can fix that. Maybe. Let's see. But if he doesn't, he doesn't. We move on. We find somebody else. So that's it. But all right, guys, it is time for me to go. I have other responsibilities, obviously, having a wife and a young child. So I got to get out of here. Gave you guys a long night tonight. Thank you guys for the ones that donated here in YouTube. So I'm not going to mention that as far as how to do it because it's going to be too late by the time I finish saying this. But if you prefer to donate elsewhere and you would like to do so outside of YouTube, PayPal, Cash App, that information is available in the description. I've heard that I need to add Patreon to that, so maybe I will look into that as well. Thank you in advance. Don't feel pressured to do so. But other than that, man, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Like always, continue to stay safe. God bless to everybody. For anybody who's being affected by the pandemic or anyone you know that's been affected. Again, like I told you guys last week, I now know people that it has affected. So it's real, but it seems like supposedly things are starting to flatten a little bit, but still be smart about it. Sit tight and let's just wait it out. And hopefully, man, if everybody do what they're supposed to, we're talking about football here in the summer. But other than that, catch you guys next week. We'll definitely have a Terrible Towel Tuesday to give a quick preview of the draft. Thursday night, I'll probably do something in regards to the draft, but definitely draft night on Friday, we'll do a live show. And we'll see who we get. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'll come on after. Because I'd rather have the pick in and then we can come in and talk about it. So maybe we'll do that Friday night. But we'll see. But anyway, I'm going to get out of here. For myself and Kenyon, we thank y'all again. Have a good night. Stay safe. And thank you for tuning in to Terrible Towel Tuesday. Peace.